Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt smaller than everyone else? Like everyone else had the script to life, and you were just winging it. What if confidence isn't born, but built like physical strength? One uncomfortable moment at a time. In a small Chicago hardware store, decades-old shelves held tools, paint, and ladders. The owner, Daniel Carter, believed in hard work and speaking your mind. His younger son, Jake, was loud and instantly memorable. But the older son, Ethan, was different. He spoke quietly. When asked a question, he'd stare at the counter. If a customer grew impatient, his mind froze. People thought he was slow. But the truth was simple. Ethan was afraid. Afraid of saying the wrong thing, of being judged, of disappointing people. And when fear becomes your default, the world learns how to treat you. "Speak up," Daniel would say. "Why can't you be like your brother?" Hear those words enough, and they become your truth. Ethan stopped believing he could be confident. He began believing he wasn't worthy of respect. When Ethan turned 20, he started working at the store full-time. He didn't argue. Arguing required confidence he didn't have. Working there only made things worse. He double-checked calculations and stumbled through simple conversations. And when customers raised their voices, his thoughts collapsed. Then one afternoon, while Daniel was out, everything changed. Two men in high-vis vests marched in. "We're taking the Harrison order," the taller one barked. "Your dad said it's ready. We're late." Ethan's intuition whispered, "Call your father." But fear screamed, "What if they get angry?" So Ethan yielded to his lifelong fear. He nodded. He watched them load thousands of dollars of power tools into their truck. Then they drove away. They never came back. That evening, Daniel returned. He walked slowly past empty shelves and missing equipment. When Ethan explained, the quiet shattered. "You just let them walk out?" Daniel exploded. 20 years building this, destroyed in an afternoon. Get out! Ethan didn't argue. He walked out into the cold Chicago night. For hours he wandered, unnoticed, under flickering streetlights. And with every step, the same thought repeated. Maybe I really am useless. Eventually, he found himself sitting alone at an empty 24-hour diner. His coffee sat cold on the table. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt completely empty. He buried his face in his hands, ready to give up. And just as he did, a voice from the next booth said quietly, "Bad night?" Ethan turned. An old man sat across the aisle, holding a cup of coffee. His calm eyes showed he had been observing. "You look like someone whose life is over," the old man said. Something inside Ethan finally broke. The whole story poured out. The store, the humiliation, his father's anger. When he finished, the old man nodded. "Your problem isn't what you think it is. I know fear when I see it." Then he stood up. "I can change your life in 3 days. You'll find out tomorrow." Day 1. "Go into the city and speak to 10 strangers, the old man commanded. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. "I can't." "You can't, or you're afraid to?" Fear. The words stung. So Ethan tried. The first 2 strangers ignored or brushed him off, but the third answered. The fourth smiled. And the 5th man asked, "So what do you do?" Ethan spoke. "I work at a hardware store." For the first time that day, he didn't feel invisible. By evening, he had spoken to 10 people. "How do you feel?" the old man asked. "Still nervous," Ethan admitted, "but less afraid." Day 2. Go teach kids at the community center how basic tools work. Ethan panicked. "I'm not a teacher." "You know more than they do," the man replied. That afternoon, Ethan stood in front of 10 children holding a wrench. His hands trembled. But the children listened, asked questions, and laughed. And slowly, his fear faded. For 1 hour, Ethan wasn't the shy son. He was the person who knew the answers. When a little boy said, "Thanks, mister," something shifted. Maybe he wasn't useless after all. Day 3. You must go back to your father. Until you face your biggest fear, it controls you. So Ethan returned to the hardware store. When his father saw him, his expression hardened. For a moment, Ethan felt the old fear rising again. The instinct to look down, to apologize and leave. But this time, he didn't. "Dad," his voice shook, but he continued, "I made a mistake. I was afraid to question those men. I'm sorry. And I'll work for free until every dollar is paid back." The room went silent. Daniel looked at his son differently, because for the first time, Ethan wasn't hiding. He was standing. Later that evening, the old man chuckled. "You already learned the secret. Your biggest enemy was never your father, your shyness, or your education. It was the story you told yourself. You believed you were weak, so you behaved weak." The old man leaned forward. "People rarely see who you truly are. They see the version of you that you present. On day 1, you acted curious. On day 2, you acted capable. On day 3, you acted responsible. You changed your posture. You changed your voice. And slowly, the world changed its mind about you." Years later, the small hardware store in Chicago grew into something bigger. Customers trusted Ethan, not because he was loud or dominated every room, but because when he spoke, people could feel his quiet confidence. And here's the truth most people misunderstand. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Every time you take a step that scares you, every time you speak even when your voice shakes, every time you choose courage instead of comfort. So let me ask you something. Right now, somewhere in your life, there is probably a conversation you are avoiding, a risk you are afraid to take, a step you keep delaying. Maybe that step is your day 1. And just like Ethan discovered, sometimes the life you want is only a few brave steps away.